So then, Cork are the 2010 All-Ireland football champions after defeating Down by a single point. It finished Cork 16 points, Down 15. And are they happy down in Cork? Yes, they are. Let's hear from Cork's Graham Canty. He's talking to Marty Morrissey.
Thank you very much, Michael. Graham Canty, winning All-Ireland captain 2010. How does it feel? Because I'm sure you must have dreamt about it over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it feels great. I'm very honoured to be captain of a great bunch of lads. I think we've given the management kind of everything over the last number of years, and we were just lucky enough just to win by a point there against a very, very good downside.
What was it about the first half? Was it nerves, do you think, despite the fact that you've been here so many times, the pressure of trying to get over the line?
I'm not sure. I think we made a couple of mistakes, maybe kind of a few misplaced passes. We had a couple of chances as well. We had a couple of goal chances. Lads went for it. They were told to go for it. Just didn't come off. The downkeeper McVeigh had a great save at the start from Kieran. A couple of misplaced passes, but probably the intensity the Down were playing at, and we weren't matching it in the first half. 3
points down at the break. What was that dressing room like?
Things were pretty calm. To be honest with you, Frank Hogan usually takes charge of it, and Frank is a very calm man, so that calmness kind of transfers onto the players. And lads knew we hadn't played all that well, and Down are a very good side anyway. You're not gonna demolish a very good side like Down, and we knew we hadn't played well, but we knew also that we had to up it if we were to win All Ireland.
I said it to Conor out on the pitch after the match, but I'll say it to you again. I get the feeling that the squad again produced the goods, the depth of talent you have in the substitute bench.
Yeah, we have a very good squad. We've strengthened it over the last number of years. It was good last year, and it's even small bit better even this year. We'd the likes of Nicholas Murphy there to bring on. Nicky even got an injury, and Derek came on. Derek got injured. We're still able to replace them. We've used that all year, and we've used our 15 against 15 games at home in training to strengthen each other and try and sharpen up each other. And we've done it over the last number of years, and it's just paid fruit, I think, today.
And what was the strategy in terms of yourself? Because I know obviously we all knew you were injured, you were extremely doubtful. Did you learn from the Henry Shefflin situation for the All-Ireland hurling final that you were going to not start?
No, not really. I think Henry's situation was a kind of a very different situation, and mine was just it was on its own really. I'd missed too much football to be starting. I hadn't played in the 15 against 15 last week, and that was the final nail in the coffin really. But we have a great squad. I didn't mind. I was very happy to take my place in the bench there beside a great panel of players. I was happy out on the bench, just to be part of the whole setup.
Well, you're a great captain. Congratulations to you and to Cork. Well done. Back to you, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. I'm sure he wasn't all that happy on the bench. Every player wants to play, and it was, I suppose, important for him and nice for him that, as the captain, that he did make an important contribution in that second half.
Yeah, you wouldn't like to see a player like Graham Canty, who's given a lot to the game, to be beaten continually in All-Ireland finals and All-Ireland semi-finals, because it would be a great regret that he'd have for the rest of his life. Now he's a new and a changed man, and in fairness, they used him well. I was saying at the start, you're better off with Canty to use him for the last 10 minutes than risk him in the first 10 as they did against Dublin. So in fairness, Conor Coonahan did learn for some of the mistakes that were, and he did bring a bit of composure to the whole proceedings. He didn't try to do anything wild, he didn't make a charge up the field, but definitely the game was turning when he came on, and he further reinforced that change in the whole mood of the battle once he was on the pitch.
I did make the point to you before today's match that Cork, having been there last year, ask you, was that going to be important today in the sense that they've been through this last year?
Actually, so in a newspaper article today, someone was making the point that this is the third 3-foot putt they're taking on the same green. In other words, and the third time of asking that you'd have learned from the mistakes of the past, take them on board. Now, it's fine out to say model victories and we were close in the past, but last year they lacked the composure and the belief in the final 20 minutes when Kerry were there for the taking. So they've certainly taken on board. Look, they've won the league and championship double.
Yes.
They've been the most consistent team in Ireland over the last couple of years, and we can talk about systems and whatever like that, but they're the best team in the country, and deservedly so.
OK, now though, let's get the thoughts of the Down manager. That of course is James McCartney, and he's with Marty.
Thank you very much, Michael. James, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. Commiserations. It was very, very close, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was obviously only a point in the end. I suppose with 15 minutes to go, it looked as if Cork were going to pull away, but full credit to our guys. We were probably living on scraps a wee bit around the middle, and we managed to pull it back to one, but unfortunately wasn't enough.
You had a great first half. Were you confident enough at half time?
Well, we knew we felt that we had a problem around the middle of the park, and even though we felt that the guys were in there were working very hard, Cork were obviously getting a lot more clean possession, and so it was a case of nearly them catching it and us trying to take it off them, which isn't a great way to work, but it was what we were having to try and do. Ambrose wasn't an option for us today, so our options probably weren't what we would like them to have been, but full credit to Cork, they've been knocking on the door for 3 or 4 years, and don't think anybody begrudging their win, certainly not us.
It must be intimidating that when they take off Alan O'Connor to bring on Nicholas Murphy, when he gets injured they bring on Derek Kavanagh. It's a pretty impressive squad, isn't it, James?
Yeah, they're on mountains, all right. They're just walking beside them. Graham's just passed me. They're huge men, and they're physically very strong. And on the day they got the better of us around the middle.
You've had a great season. I know you don't feel like that now, but considering where you were and now where you're at, All-Ireland finalist, just beaten by a point, you must be very confident and very proud of your team.
Well, yeah, it would have been nice to push on. Probably, the 6 All-Irelands out of 6 wouldn't have a great burn with me, but it would have been nice to have had a fitting tribute to the guys from 1960. We had been wearing their 1960 on our jersey all year, and it was there for a reason. I probably did try and play it down as much as I could, but we wanted to try and fulfil, probably personally on a personal note, because of the family ties back to them. But look, we just didn't manage it. But hopefully they'll feel that we've done something to try and lift their spirits.
Well, James McCartney, you're a gentleman, and you've had a wonderful year as a manager in your first year. I think everybody should be proud of you. Well done. Good job. Back to you, Michael.
It would have been nice, of course, 4 down for that reason, the 1960 All-Ireland winning team with the Jubilee team here today. It doesn't work out like that, of course, Joe Brolly, but question is, will they be back next year?
Well, I mean, it's a bit like the Dubs, a great effort with limited resources. I mean, a truly marvellous effort. And, again, the point I was making this morning, that 12 months ago, if you'd watched them against Wicklow being beaten down there in the qualifiers, and someone had said to you, look, these boys will be in the All-Ireland final next year, they'll beat Kerry, they'll beat Kildare, and Cork will beat them by a point, you would have said, well, I mean, you're ready for the sort of the lunatic asylum. And it's been a terrific job. They fell short today. They didn't have the all-round quality. They were completely demolished in midfield, which is what Cork have done to nearly every team they've played this year. And ultimately, they were able to sort of smash and grab in the first half, but there's only so long that you can go on without at any stage getting any sort of superiority around the middle of the field. And eventually, that coupled with the fact that Cork really did start to play like champions in the second half.
They did.
Really,
some of the important players, Colin, started to get some of the important scores, like Kerry and Donald O'Connor had a great second half. A couple of crucial scores that edged them ahead.
Absolutely beautiful points. And as well as that, I think Aidan Walsh did excellently for Cork all through the whole game. But
brilliant bowler.
Yeah, but in physical contact, the sheer size of the Cork team, and Kerrigan hadn't a good game, but there he was brave. I think that the word I described most of the Cork forwards in the second half was brave, because when you fail so often in the past, it would be easy to go into a shell. Kerrigan went through, kicked it over the bar, but you can see there was a lot of bad kicking too by Down. They give away possession, and here we had long ball into the full forward line, which we've been preaching of for quite a while. In there, not much to shoot at. Donald O'Connor,
great score,
right
brilliant
up into
score.
the air, beautiful point, and that was what the change, the metamorphosed into something different from the type of animals that they were the first half.
In a way, that those highlights highlight why Cork have won this year's All-Ireland, because for the last couple of years they came up short because their decision making was poor, they were taking the wrong options, and they had no leadership, no leaders. Today, when they got on the ball, they had fellas with leadership who were prepared to take a shot.
3 critical scores from earlier in that second half, Pat, that brought Cork back into it. Now, edging ahead from those scores is one thing, but when you're behind and you need a bit of inspiration, here it came.
Yeah, Kieran Sheehan, who I thought played well as well. But what they were doing, as you can see, Michael, they were moving the ball quick and long and direct. But what Donald O'Connor did there is what a forward should do. When you get the ball, you turn and shoot. And that was an outstanding. His 3 points today, one in the first half and 2 in the second half, were superb points. And the same with Daniel Goulding. But like I said, what you were getting here was moving the ball quick and fast into the full forward line. The full forward showing well. And this wasn't an easy kick from Daniel Goulding. It was a very acute angle, and he took it very well.
That was a bit like Stephen O'Neill's famous point against the Dubs here under the floodlights. But I mean, this is an All-Ireland final. It was a magnificent score, and I think also that the fact that Donogh O'Connor in particular who people have had question marks over. I mean, I heard it said in Down in the run up to the final, he's got no middle. We'll be able to put him out of business.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was able to do that, you know, was a signal for the rest of his teammates that today was the day.
Certainly was, and they took the signal, and so it's all over for another year in terms of the Football Championship. But we're not done with the events of the day just yet. Plenty of follow-up here on RTE Radio and television. Now, you can listen to Brian Carty's Championship special over on Radio 1 shortly. Now, Brian will be joined by a host of special guests as he reflects on the day's events here at Croke Park. At 6:30 this evening on RTE1 television, you can see the first programme in a new season of the popular show, Celebrity Bannister. And then later on tonight, back here on RTE2 television, Des Cahill will be in studio with a specially invited audience to look back over the championship year in football, reveal the choice of the team of the year, and also announce the man of the match from today's All-Ireland final. And in addition to all that, I will be at the Winners Hotel this evening as we join in the celebrations with the Cork team and their supporters. So we hope to see you then. But for now, from Croke Park, my thanks to, well, first of all, my thanks also, by the way, to Jerry Hayes, who is our manager of our outside broadcast here today, because Jerry, like Micheál O'Herty, is doing his last All-Ireland football final. Thanks also to Joe Brawley, Colin Warwick and Pat Spillane for their contribution, not just today, but all through the season. Hope to see you again at 9:30. In the meantime, bye-bye.